Relax, the keyboard is off, the press box is closed, but the mic is just getting warmed up as the guardian of the blue paint turned writer is about to enlighten us. The show where the writer is fresh off the presses and the ink is not dry, and on the show this week in off-season mode, the Flyers should have their eyes on the prize. Welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc. Join Lance and Steel as we bring you all the latest on the Flyers. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Hockey Writers Inc., your host,
Lance Green.
And I'm your co-host, SteelFlyers, and boy oh boy, we got another great one lined up for you this today, folks. Can't wait to get into it. Got the great one, Lance Green. How you
How's
doing,
it
buddy?
going? I'm awesome.
Yeah, man, I'm doing great. I gotta have to ask you a quick question, all right?
Gotcha.
You've been watching the playoffs, yeah?
A little bit.
Okay, all right, just checking, cause oh my gosh, man. Some good hockey. Oh my, oh my, oh
Yes.
my.
Definitely some exciting hockey out there for sure. Played the
Yeah,
right way right now. Very physical.
exactly. That's why I was asking if you were catching some of the games because I know how we love that physical game. So
Definitely refreshing.
it
Definitely
is, it
refreshing.
is, it is. So how you been, man? What's going on?
Not too much. I've been good. I've been good. I've been
Been
busy.
busy?
Yeah, got a couple of new articles.
Yeah, yeah.
And got a couple more ideas. If I could find enough time to sit down and write some more, I'd be all right. So
Definitely wearing out the keys on that new laptop you got earlier this year for sure.
yeah, definitely putting it to good use.
Yes, exactly. That's the main point about that is putting it to good use. First of all, we would like to say thank you very much to Jamie Baskow and the FlyersNittyGritty.com group. A huge salute. 27th week in a row, my brother. On Bleacher Reports, thank you very much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. A huge thank you goes to Jamie and for Flyers Nitty Gritty and for plastering this all over their website. Your write ups are really awesome. I love reading the little write ups that you write for them too. You know what I mean? It just goes to show that this is good quality stuff here because we have good people doing this stuff. And I also would like to say a huge thank you to Lance for all your great articles and all the great stuff that you do as part of the Hockey Writers Inc. We have been recognized as doing a huge thumbs up, great job. When I was on with Jim Jackson the other day, he was very complimentary to all the things that we're doing here at SteelFlyers All Sports Network, which includes Hockey Writers Inc. massively. So thank you very much, sir. Very much appreciated.
Yeah, definitely. That's always good to hear. Somebody
Right?
that knows a little bit what he's talking about, giving you some props. So,
Exactly. But it's all thanks to everybody here at Steel Flyers. It's thanks to you, Lance, here for Hockey Writers Inc., John from Off the Wall Hockey, Perlo from the Great Perlo Wisdom Show, Joe from the Sports Fanatic News, and the newly added Peyton from Peyton on the Radio. I mean, it's all thanks to the likes of everybody that's part of this whole entire thing that we're doing here. The fact that we got to partner up with Flyers Nitty Gritty and all of those guys, the whole gang over there, OMB Puck, your Reef, Nitty Gritty, you know what I mean? All that stuff. This is what makes this all go. Okay, and we get to contribute to all of that going by contributing, as of last count, for less than 21 days, 11,000 hits on the website.
awesome.
On multiple different pages. Thank you all very much. Multiple different episodes of shows, things of that nature. So thank you all very much. Please keep the comments coming. We very much appreciate it, and we're taking notice, and so are other people. How's this for you, folks? In Whelp Magazine, there'll be a link here in this show. We were listed as one of the top 20 podcasts for the Philadelphia Flyers for 2021 season. How is that?
That's awesome.
Yeah, man. We were in there with the likes of O&B Puckcast. We were in there with likes of Flyers Talk with Jason Metrius. We were there with Jason Hall, the show that those guys do. I mean, this is good company here. O&B Puckcast. I mean, these guys are the standards. Okay, and to even be, I mean, okay, we were down further at the bottom of the list, but I mean, they didn't
Yeah,
number it.
we're definitely one of the newer shows as well. So I definitely see more and more people commenting and viewing the show when I post it out there as well. And it's all much appreciated, guys. Again, anytime you guys have questions for us or want to pick our brains, have at it. We love to see some feedback on the show. And just thanks for watching, guys. We really
Yes,
appreciate it.
very much so. So that's what I wanted to say, some of that great information there and kind of let you know about some of that stuff. So thank you all very much. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for listening. And thank you all very much. We would also like to thank our sponsors, Canine Country Club Resorts. They take care of all your pets' needs from daycare to spa treatments, even pool time. Check them out on the web at www.cccresorts.com. You can also check them out on Facebook. Also, the pool is now open outdoors, so you can get lots of pool time, and they have the camera booth open so you can get pictures and pool time. Check them out on the web at www.cccresorts.com. Lance, I'll tell you what, man, these were two awesome follow up articles from the last show. I mean, it was like you've just had quite a run here of some awesomeness that has just been spewing out of the writer extraordinaire. And uh, we're going to get to your latest article second, okay? Because I wanted to talk about this one here because the name of the show is In Off Season Mode. The Flyers should have their eyes on the prize. And you know what? They really should. And another great article you posted out to FlyersNittyGritty.com just the other day. Two goalies to watch during the playoffs, which is why I asked if you were watching some playoffs.
Definitely.
Right, and who could find themselves suiting up for the Flyers next season. Perfect article to describe exactly what's going on when it comes to the Flyers goalies. So, as you mentioned in the article, the fact that Brian Elliott is more than
36.
likely
Yeah.
more than likely done in Philadelphia, and the team needs, repeat, needs a backup goalie.
Yeah. I think, Brian is 36 now. He's getting up there in age. He played well, but his numbers are just not the greatest. As well, the defense wasn't great this year. We all know that, and that needs to be worked on and improved. But regardless of that, the team needs a better option, a better secondary option. Okay. Hart, was expected to maybe take the reins and run with it this year, and they were going to give him that, and he's faltered a little bit, and no thanks to the defense and the team playing around him. I think they broke his confidence a little bit, and I think he can get it back, but he's going to need some help. And besides just that defensive fixing of sorts that needs to happen, I think he needs a better partner. And if you look around the league, some of the best teams in the league that are in the playoffs now have two great goaltenders. Not everybody is playing that Martin Brodeur 70 plus starts a season anymore. Okay,
Yeah,
um,
exactly.
it's transitioning. It's transitioning to a two goaltender league. Before, I don't even think Devils fans could even tell you who the backup was because he played so few games. You know, but
Yeah.
but now you're looking at a guy like teams like the Canadians who have two amazing goaltenders, two 1A goaltenders, 1 and 1A. Vegas, who has the great Marc Andre Fleury and Robin Lehrer. Like you got to think like these guys they don't have to work around that schedule to see what weak teams are coming up in their schedule that they can play their second goalie.
Yeah.
They can feel free to throw either one out at their discretion, and that's what I think we need to do, guys. a good goaltender now is a starter is playing 50 games a year, and a more regular season. We're now looking hopefully to get back to an 82 game season, and that's a good chunk of games that is going to be dependent on playing that secondary goaltender, and that can be that secondary goaltender, if he's doing well, can really take that team from maybe a seventh or sixth seed to third or second seed with their amount of games. The East is defined by so few games at the end of the season in between each team, and those few games where that backup goaltender, if you will, struggles or lacks because they may not have one as good as the next team before them, really defines that seeding of the playoffs, and can really be the deciding factor on if you make it in or not, because there's
Exactly.
so few games in between each team. So
All you have to do is look at Florida, and
yeah,
you see a Vezina Trophy winning, two Vezina Trophy winning goalie Bob, who kind of dropped off a little bit this year, and then had the backup goalie Drager pick it
yeah.
up and just take the ball by the horns. Now,
Right, and they don't even stop with that in Florida. I mean, most teams have a third goalie nowadays. Look at Spencer Knight coming up and
yeah,
towards the end of the season, and he's almost trying to push for that backup role next season. So
exactly. So
amazing,
it,
amazing.
that's
Yeah,
what I'm talking about. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
for sure.
Exactly. And more, I think it was brought to light this season because it was a condensed season, because it was a shortened season, that you need that other goalie that can play more than 15 games.
Yeah,
Okay, you need a goalie, you need that backup goalie that can be that 1B goalie that can go out there and win you those 15 games and maybe start 30. Maybe he starts 30, he wins 15, has maybe a couple of losses and a couple of overtimes or something. You know
yeah.
what I mean? But you need a goalie that can at least win you those between 15 and 20 games.
Well, I think that's true, and it's valuable points that we're giving up with taking the lesser goalie here. Now, guys, I don't think that we need to spend 15 or 20 million dollars on
We
goalies.
can't.
Like we can't do that, right? Like some teams have, but I do think it's time for an upgrade over Elliott. He served his purpose here. He mentored Carter Hart, but I think that we need an upgrade at this point, and this more so than some years, because the big question is, I think everybody believes in Hart still, and obviously, with all that going on, but what if he doesn't come back game one at where he was last season in the playoffs? We need somebody that can be there and kind of take over if his confidence starts to lack again or isn't quite back to where it once was just yet.
It's funny that you mention in your article such a goalie that potentially could hold down the blue paint and spell hard and or maybe give him that push, nudge, whatever you think, because I really agree with you on that. I really don't. I see. I'm of the ilk that if you bring a guy in that's about the same level as your number one goalie, that is going to be nothing but good things for you because now those two guys are pushing each other. Oh, yeah? Well, you had a shutout that night. Well, I'm going to have a shutout this night, and I'm going to face more shots, and I'm going to do it more acrobatically. And then that goalie's like, oh, yeah? Well, I'm going to do it this way. I mean, you played, right?
A little healthy competition, yeah. I think that it is what maybe Hart needs. Everybody
Exactly.
has, coveted him as being that guy, that savior,
Oh,
if you
yeah.
will. And although I think he hasn't taken it, for granted, I think a little push from somebody that he knows, could take his job if he slips up a bit. Um, for at least the time being, um, is what he needs. I thought, I wanted to see him previously to get more starts, but the kid is 22. He may not be ready for 50, 60 games a year yet, like everybody, wants him to play. So I'm okay with that. But in this article, yeah, I put out two different names that could possibly be
Yep.
signed via free agency. I know I've done a couple in the past where at the trade deadline, I said a couple names that could be
Yeah.
traded for in the past that could help him along that didn't get done. But herein lies where we stand now. And the offseason mode, like you said, some free agents are going to be available this year that could potentially help him out a lot next season.
Exactly. Exactly. You mentioned one of them in the article, and that was Felix Anderson. But some of the past articles that you've done, then we've talked about Reimer, Drager, because we see some other goalies in other places that are doing other things. You understand what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And when you look at some of those areas and some of those places, you see, hey, Spencer Knight could potentially step in there and take that away. And, Drager could potentially be out on the market. That would be a
Yeah.
pretty decent little thing, I think. Reimer, I would much rather see Drager than Reimer, but okay. Or this fella here that you talk about, Felix Anderson from the Maple Leafs.
Yeah, Frederick Anderson is a good option here, guys. 30 goal winner multiple times over. He was an all-star last season for Toronto. He came, with a lot of hype coming from winning a uh, Jennings Trophy with Anaheim before he came into the fold with Toronto, and he has such played really well up to this season. Um, he's been an all-star for a team, so but that one thing here, like you said, that driving force coming behind it, why would Toronto want to get rid of him if he's played that good, so up to date, right? Well, he's going to be a free agent, guys, and there's a certain guy down there named Jack Campbell, who was a first round pick of the Dallas Stars, and Frederick came in and he got a little injured this year. He got a little banged up, and he's still playing a little banged up right now. But he came back to help his team in the playoffs. I think he might need a little offseason surgery, just a corrective surgery to fix a little ailment, and he's had a lower body injury, but he's definitely going to come back from that. He's 50, 60 game player a year, guys, and he's only 31. So that's a lot better than that 36 that Elliott is there.
Yeah, plus it gives you a little bit of that experience. It gives you a little bit of that, been there, done that kind of thing. And now they're in the playoffs with Toronto. I don't know if he's going to see much
A whole
action,
lot. I don't
yeah,
think
but
so. Like I said, I think Jack has stepped in and
yeah,
kind of taken over the crease there,
yeah,
and he's signed for next season. Jack is so it might save them a little bit of money. Toronto has spent a lot of money up front
yeah,
in offense,
yeah.
and they're kind of got a little cap restraint, and they got a lot of people to sign. So Anderson might be available this offseason, and he might be looking for a new home because they brought in a goaltender as well, with Anderson being out for a little bit at the trade deadline from Calgary. So, he could potentially be signed back next season for cheaper than Anderson would be. But I think it's a transition year for Anderson. He needs to maybe play a little less. He has been pushed a lot previously with Toronto and that Brodeur type numbers of games. And he needs to dial it back a bit. He's not 25 anymore. He's not 26, So I think he could be better suited. He's still very valuable in a sense. And although he would be costing the team potentially more to bring in than, say, Elliott would be to bring back, I think they could do that because with Hart's struggles this season, I don't think it's going to cost the team as much
Yeah.
to bring him back next season. So, I think Anderson would be a great person to bring in here, and the play of Jack up there, Campbell has him expendable in my mind.
Probably, yeah, probably. It
Yeah.
seems like, look, we know that Hart had a tough year.
Hmm.
His numbers kind of speak for themselves that you very deftly point out in the article. I mean, it wasn't, this was his first real adversity that he's had to face
Yeah.
in his whole career because everywhere he's been, he's won. Okay, and that's why I don't. I have confidence in him being able to bounce back. I, I'm trying to, I think he's gonna, because I think he just needs to get his head in the right place, and I think he's gonna mature from this because he can go nowhere but up.
Yeah, I think Carter really took it to heart with his getting sat as a healthy scratch for a bit, and at the exit interviews, he really had a lot of good things, and he said the right things for sure. When he was exiting, and said like he definitely didn't have the year he wanted to have. He's going to work hard in the off season, and he's going to use this to drive him and push him to be that much better next season. He doesn't want to come back and have the type of year he did. Obviously, who would? But I think he's going to right himself from this. But at the same time, like I said, I think we do still need an upgrade. Those 30 games, as you said, potentially of a backup playing is going to be needed. If you want to compete and be selected to be in the likes of the talks with the best teams, you're going to have somebody that can keep you in it and not just play the Buffaloes or the New Jersey Devils of the league right now, or the Detroits of the league right now, and win against those teams. You're going to need to pull out a big win against some playoff caliber teams once in a while as a backup for sure if you want to compete. So,
And it's been proven every year and time again that
mhm.
to win in the playoffs, you need to be able to win road games. And
Yeah.
it's proven so far this year where the road teams can win games. And if you're able to win those games on the road, that does nothing but good things for your team. All right. Another potential fit in goal for the Flyers next season would be James Reimer from Carolina, as you pointed out.
Right.
I Sell me.
Sure. Okay, so he's not as fancy of a pickup, obviously, as a Frederick Anderson. But if you look at his numbers, he does have some pretty impressive numbers here, guys. He's totaled the most wins for Carolina last season at 15. There's a three-headed monster right now down in Carolina, and I think this is another reason why he gets pushed out. I don't think anybody foreseen Alex Nedlovic coming in and playing as
Nedeljkovic.
Nedeljkovic. Exactly, that's what I said.
Yeah.
Right. So, so you know, Alex came in and he took the team by storm, if you will, with the Hurricanes, and pun intended in that sense. But he's 25, and he's came in, and I've been personally watching the Hurricanes throughout the playoffs this year, and they're an exciting team with him in net, and it leaves a spot open.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
for Reimer to just exit. And it's crazy how you take a guy who was the starting goalie in my mind, and with the most wins off of that team, and you since filled it with just depth, as we said, guys. Drafting well, trading well for prospects, and developing kids well. And that's what Carolina has done in this sense. And that's why a 33-year-old Reimer is available potentially next season as a free agent and probably won't be re-signed.
Okay, so you think that he's not going to be? Do you think that Mrazek's going to push him out?
I think he Mrazek is done well in Carolina, and he's going to push him out because he'll be a cheaper option. Reimer
All right, I'll
has
buy that.
right. So Alex is going to take over the starting role as
Definitely.
potentially, Carter Hart is here. He's a young guy,
Yeah.
but Mrazek has the experience and has played well and knows the system just as well as Reimer and can come down to a cheaper option. And I think that's why Reimer gets pushed out. I don't think Reimer wants to at this point be a third option. And he's gonna test the water somewhere else. He's played for about three or four different teams in his career, and I don't think he's scared to go to a new team. He plays well and he's adaptive. to other team systems in the past very well and has been successful wherever he is. Obviously, like I said, he's not a great uh, big name guy that's going to be on the side of your buildings, but he's quietly a a upgrade from what I think of Brian Elliott at this point in his career. Brian Elliott had a great career younger in his, but he's getting a little long in the tooth, and James could come in and play another year or two until some of our other prospects and goal develop. So that's where I think that is.
I mean, I get what you're saying. Okay, I hear you. Um, all right. There have been some other goalies that we've talked about
Hmm.
that you've written about
Hmm.
in the past, and these two, I would have to agree, would have to be on the radar for Chuck.
Yeah, I think it's like I said, James is not the fancier pick. I like Dreger too as a free agent, but I
He might
think
be more too expensive.
I don't know. I think they'll be about the same price point, but I think he's a little younger, and I think they still want that kind of established veteran. He really hasn't been given the reins to play 30 or 40 games like Reimer has before
True.
with teams. So he's still a little unproven in a sense over the course of, we're looking for that guy to, if Hart doesn't really take off running like we know he can right away. We want a guy that can take over the net, and I think James can, and he's just not as flashy as an option, maybe.
All right. Well, so now let me throw something at you here.
Sure.
What if, because we know that Carter Hart is going to probably, hopefully, we're thinking that he's going to be re-signed to a kind of a prove it deal this year
Hmm.
for maybe 2 years or so, right?
Right.
And he's going to probably get maybe what,
Yeah. So
maybe two and a half a year.
I think you're right about on that. I don't think he's going to get the
All
money he
right.
once thought he would, or his agent thought he would. But yeah,
Well,
I think that's a safe bet.
okay. So now he signs for that. So now, I mean, the next goalie that we're going to have to bring in here, I, they can't be a goalie that's going to be potentially making more money than Carter Hart.
No.
Okay, because now you're spending quite a lot more of that money on on
Hmm.
goalies,
Hmm.
and I mean, that's kind of what I'm trying to get to here.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Reimer, I don't think either one of these guys, and I got this question from a couple fans, they're saying that Anderson gets paid $5 million. Well, that was a contract that he signed when he was much younger and has now come to the end of it. I don't think at 31 he's going to get that same contract as far as term or revenue. Well, not revenue, but pay scale that he did at that time in his career when he's inked that deal.
Okay.
Same with Reimer. I think he's going to get slightly less than he got. I think when he went to Carolina and signed that deal previous, that he was expected to be a lot more than he's going to be expected now.
Okay.
In Carolina, he was the number one guy until Alex has come up and now since took over.
Yeah.
But he should sign for similar to what maybe Price or
Okay.
not Price or Hart now is going to get paid, I believe.
Okay. Okay. Well,
So
that's
not a lot increase from what Elliott has for sure been paid over the last season, but not anything substantially, in the $5 million range or anything crazy like that. I don't
okay.
think they're going to spend that much cap for sure.
Okay.
They have a lot of other corrective issues that they need to handle,
Uh-huh.
but I think that may come through
Okay.
trade as well. And trading money to
If that can happen, I mean,
yeah.
if you don't include Carter Hart and you don't include Sanheim, and I think there's somebody else that needs to be re-signed. If you don't include that, the Flyers have $11.2 million in cap
Yeah, yeah.
space.
So they have a little over 11, like you said, to sign back everybody. But I'm talking maybe that right-hand shot defenseman. I don't know if it'll come through via free agency. I don't see the type of people there. I hope it does in one name in particular, or maybe two guys. But if not, I think that there needs to be a trade or two
Yeah.
this season and ship out some of this veteran core that's been here a little too long and
Yeah.
maybe get some fresh faces in.
We both agree that there's going to be some changes to this roster, at least. I mean, and and to be honest with you, I think there's going to be some coaching changes too. Maybe I think maybe.
Yeah, with Scott Gordon leaving from the Phantoms, that's definitely a head scratcher there. But I think maybe that he has offers elsewhere to progress his career, so that could be it as well. I don't know how you let a, if not, I don't know how you let a guy who's had the Phantoms
I agree.
sitting that high up in the rankings with the AHL just walk. But I think that could be the case for sure.
Uh huh. I'm with you on that, my man. Okay, look. I was very blessed and honored to sit down with Jim the other day and get his take on the end of the season and what he thought of the season and everything like that. And he pointed out something that I've been thinking a lot about. And that is this: how much stock is Chuck Fletcher putting into this past season? And what Jim pointed out is that if he puts a significant amount of stock in what happened this season, then potentially there could be some major moves, shakeups, whatever. If there's not a lot of stock put into this season, then maybe not so many. You know what I mean? Because that's going to also be a bit of a different mindset as well.
Yeah, it's a conundrum, and really the only person that knows what he's thinking is Chuck. He's not one to really put out there what he's thinking like some other GMs and making it public. Um, from a standpoint from AV, it seemed like he liked to point the fingers a little bit more and wants a chance with the same group to prove his worth. But I don't know how much of that is really sinking into Chuck's mind and how much he wants to change. Because, like we said before, Chuck has really left the team alone. Besides bringing in Hayes from the same team that he was gifted when Hextall left, so or was booted out. So, I think it's time for Chuck really this offseason to prove his worth without just bringing in the couple of recycled guys from Minnesota that he brought in previously and stuff like that and small moves. I think it's time for him to really put a stamp on this team with his name on it. So that's what I'm hoping for anyway.
Well, I'm here to tell you, we're hoping for anything good, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So we don't care as long as it's good. We don't care as long as it's good. And speaking of good, we're going to take a quick little break here, and we're going to have a quick little word from our sponsors. So we would like to thank our sponsors, by the way, which is www.cccresorts.com. Check them out on the web. They are a great place to do all of your daycare, spa, and pool time needs for your pet. And they will also be able to do boarding and all kinds of other great fun features they have. Check them out on the web or check them out on Facebook. We'll be right back after these messages from CCC Resorts. Greetings. This is Steel Flyers from the SteelFlyers All Sports Network, and we have two very special guests. We are delighted to be joined by Tracy Musser and Nicole Howard from the Canine Country Club Resorts. Tracy and Nicole are both managers for CCC Resorts and work at the Windsor or at the club, one of two locations both in Manheim, Pennsylvania. Congratulations on your 30th year anniversary of being in business. Let me start off by saying this. Steel Flyer stands behind this company 100%. Taking care of Steel Flyer's furry friend for the last 2 years now, and they are a one-stop shop for everything your furry friend needs. In fact, let's find out what our friends at CCC Resorts offer. Nicole, how are you today?
Good. How are you?
Doing great, thank you. What are some of the great boarding services that you guys offer, and what do we have to do in order to get our furry friends taken care of when we are unable to travel with them?
Well, we like to bring everybody in for a tour first. That way they can see the behind the scenes, they can see where they stay, they can see where they play, and then we explain all of the fun things that we can add on to their reservation, whether it be one of our packages, either a nature walk, a ball time, or even a cuddle time.
Oh, wow, that sounds great. Boy, it sure sounds like a resort to me. So how are you today, Tracy?
I'm doing well, thank you.
Tracy, tell me, is it true that you guys have both an indoor and an outdoor pool at the Windsor location?
It is true. We've got one of each, so we're able to offer year-round swimming. The indoor pool is a great option for dogs who are swimming for therapy or rehab. It's got that sloped entry so they can wade into the water. Our outdoor pool is a little bit larger, and it's 4 foot deep the whole way across. And both of them are saltwater pools, so it's really easy on the dog's skin and coat.
Wow, that's very awesome. So then during the summer months, you have a much deeper pool outside and then a sloped entry shallow pool indoors for the dogs. Tracy, tell the folks how we can get some pool time.
Well, the first thing everyone does is come for an intro swim. We use that time to make sure the dog is comfortable in the water. We make sure they know how to get out of the pool safely, and we go over all the pool rules and etiquette with the clients as well. After that, they're able to schedule private appointments where they have the pool to themselves, or they can invite friends and have a whole group swim going on.
So after a dip in the pool, then it would have to be off to the groomers, right? I mean, our furry friends cannot go out looking their best. Nicole, what are some of the great services your top-notch groomers provide?
Our groomers, they specialize in full service grooms. We can do the basics, whether it be just a bath and a brush out or a blowout. Or for the extra pampered pooches, we can do nail dremels, we can do deodorizing soaks, and also facials.
Wow, man, that sounds like a resort if you ask me. Tracy, I know one of the main programs here at CCC Resorts is the WAGS program. The Steel Flyers dog is enrolled in this program. So why don't you tell the folks what is involved in this and how they can get enrolled?
Yeah, the WAGS program is our primary daycare option at the Windsor. It's designed to be a structured program for people who are looking for a set routine for their dog. They all come on the same days each week, which allows them to have set friends, and we know exactly what's going on with each group. So we do a little bit more activities, and we build more into their daily routine there. But we've got other daycare options as well for people looking for a little less commitment. We do an hourly care where you can drop them off and just pay by the hour. We also do a day stay option, which is great for the dogs that prefer human friends instead of making friends with other dogs. And then we have a traditional daycare option as well if you're looking for the occasional outing for your dog.
Wow, there you have it. A full service groomer, a daycare program, and an indoor and outdoor pool. What more could you ask for? Sure seems like CCC Resorts has everything covered. Remember, DOG, depend on God. Thank you all very much for watching the great CCC Resorts. Appreciate all the support that they give the SteelFlyers All Sports Network. Really appreciate everything that they do. Check them out on the web, www.cccresorts.com. All right, my man, we're getting into this article here that is so. It was just. I mean, it's still dripping wet. It was just posted this morning or today or whenever you're catching this. It was just posted just very, very recently. It's still dripping wet, posted to flyersnittygritty.com. This is another in a long line of well thought out and right to the point articles, man. This is why we do this, because of these articles like this. Okay, I really appreciate reading the stuff that you have, and I really love being able to get to have this platform with you. You know what I mean? Because we get to talk about these cool articles. And so you released a few articles out the last little bit here. Who you feel that the Flyers should target for the first 4 rounds of the draft, right?
Yeah, so far I've got to the fourth round. It's getting a little harder this year to keep going on deeper into the draft because there's just not as much tape on guys this year with the shortened seasons and all that. But so with this one, I wanted to go back. Originally, I think I posted this article some time ago, back in February. So it's been some time, and at
Yeah.
that time, the original piece I put out was for the first round selection. Um, the Flyers were in the playoff picture, so they would have been drafting a lot later in the draft. And although I liked my pick of Zachary Leroux from the Halifax Mooseheads, I still think he's a great player and he's very physical, everything that the Flyers would need. But now that the Flyers had some struggles and uh, now looking to draft quite a bit higher, uh, they're gifted an opportunity to select a much better player.
How about that? I think their odds are 1.2% of getting into the top two or the top, the top three or
Yeah.
whatever, right? It's 1.2%, but I think they're going to be picking 14th.
Yeah, so that's where I had them roughly when I picked this selection, updated selection now that I got.
Right. So, but when you did the article that we did previously, the
Much
Flyers
later,
were,
yeah.
yeah, the Flyers were in playoff contention and
Right.
would have probably have picked in the, mid to upper 20s, which,
Yes.
look, 10 spots is a huge difference, especially when it comes to a draft in this year.
Yes, for sure. And a lot has changed since February. A lot of guys really got their skates back under them after being off for such a long time, and a few definitely have progressed, and more so than others. And yeah, like you said, that 10 spots is amazingly different type player that you're getting, amazing different caliber of player. So I felt the need to reevaluate the pick
Yes, perfect.
and go with it. Being that they're slotted in much higher. So
I like it. It's a bit of a rework, a rethink of the
for sure.
Flyers' first round. Look, and I agree. Zachary Leheroux would be an awesome selection for the Flyers, but if there's an opportunity, if there's a chance, if there's, you're trying to get the best player on the board to meet your needs, I like the player that you selected, my man. And that was Mason McTavish. All right.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I like it. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, for sure. Mason has been on my radar for quite some time. And honestly, I went back and forth about this selection. There's another player out there that is very similar in mind, and Cole Sillinger that I like as well.
Ooh, there's a good name.
Really, really great player as well. Both players have, fathers that played in the NHL before.
Mm-hmm.
Sillinger with a much longer lineage for that with his dad, but just I think Mason fits the Flyers' needs a little bit better. I think he's a
Yeah.
little bit more Mike Richards, if you will, a little bit harder player, tougher player. That Philadelphia brand of hockey that needs to come back home. So and he's a little bit bigger. He's 6'2", you know, and 207 pounds.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Versus a Sillinger that was 6 foot tall, with skates on. So, uh, I wanted to get away from that
yes, thank you.
that brand that they've been drafting too much of, and get a bigger body center that can play wing as well
Yes,
in
thank you.
McTavish. Both players, are elite snipers in my mind, but I think that Mason, in this sense, could be more NHL body ready and can fight through it to
Yeah.
get in those areas that they need to get into.
Yeah.
Um, Over the course, Canadian juniors last season with the Peterborough Petes, he had 29 goals, 13 assists for 42 points in
Wow.
57 games played in
Wow.
his freshman year in junior hockey, which was quite impressive.
Wow.
Almost a 30-goal season last year.
Wow.
So, but he didn't have the opportunity to go back to Peterborough because the OHL decided to shut down.
Yeah.
So, being that he was so young, he had to go find somewhere to play. In my mind, so he went back home to Switzerland. He's a Canadian player. He played for Team Canada this year, but he was born over in Switzerland because his dad played over there after he was done in the NHL for quite some time until he was adolescent. Um, or just about. So he went back over to Switzerland and he played in the men's leagues over there. He played in the pro levels over in Switzerland this year at just 17 and 18 years old, which was quite
Wow.
impressive in my mind as well.
Wow.
And this season, over 13 games in the Swiss league, he had 9 goals and 2 assists for 11 points, playing against men, playing against 30-year-olds. So
Oh, I'm
that
sorry. Let
was
me close my mouth. In how many
right.
games?
In 13 games, he had 9 goals.
Oh,
And
wow.
in a defensive league, like the Swiss leagues, and
Yeah,
is very defensive minded, and
yeah.
he was able to progress in my mind in that sense, where he became bigger, stronger on the puck, and he broke through the defenses over there with ease. He drove right to the net. And he got shots off from where he wanted. He demanded respect, and he got it. And if he missed a shot, he was able to rectify that and get into there and crash the net and get those rebounds and knock them home. He has an elite level shot. He can
Wow,
shoot.
for being that young.
He really has an elite level shot, and I think that's what the team needs. We don't need any more playmakers. We
Yeah,
need guys
get
that
some
can put the puck
shooters.
in the back of the net and just torch it.
Shoot
And
the freaking puck already.
right, Mason does just that.
Yeah,
Um,
sure sounds
so
like it.
and on top of that, he came back to the stateside and played in Texas for Team Canada in the World Junior U18s, and where they won gold and where they won the tournament, and he shined in that sense. Where other guys who were even going to be ranked higher than him in this year's draft,
Wow,
he outscored Dylan Gunther,
wow.
who is a top 5 pick this season. He outscored him, and he lit it up with guys like Shane Wright, who is going to be like potentially the number 1 overall pick next season.
Yeah.
He played very well right alongside him. And in this tournament, in 7 games played, he had 5 goals, 6 assists for 11 points. All
Jeez.
right, well over a point a game
Boy, this
pace
kid
in
really
this
knows how to
tournament.
put the puck in the net, doesn't he?
He definitely does. He definitely
Wow.
does.
Um,
And he's a 200-foot player as
that's what
well,
I
and
was
that's
gonna
what I like
say.
about
Yeah,
him. Yeah,
yeah.
AV would like him in this sense. He fits the system. He gets back and plays just as hard in the defensive zone as he does in the offensive zone. He's dominant in that sense in the defensive zone and is relentless in his pursuit for the puck. So that is just an amazing talent, all around player at such a young age and doesn't have many holes in his game at such a young age. And that's impressive because mostly you only get those guys at top 10 talents in the draft. And this one may be sliding back to us at 14 or 15 where we're selecting.
Well, I really like that you went offensive on this big-bodied kid in Mason. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I really like that because that's exactly. And look, I know sometimes that you potentially could look at a player and go, well, gosh, do you think if let's just play McWorld and say that Chuck is listening, and because he does, right? He's
Right.
watching the Hockey Writers Inc.
Yeah. Can
Thanks,
I get an
Chuck.
application, Chuck?
Yeah, right. Please,
Assistant GM,
yeah,
something.
something, please.
Scout.
I mean, Consolieri. Can I get one of those?
Right. Right.
Right, please. Anyway, so we know he's listening, but suppose he does pick him, right? Okay, and let's just say that he comes to camp and he just shines, explodes, and whatever. Do you play him? Do you put him in? I mean, is he one? Is he that level of talent that you could put him in and be that? The last time the Flyers did that was what? Simone Gagne, their first round pick. He was like 11th overall selected or something crazy like that. And he started that first year. And the Flyers haven't done that for quite a long time now. They haven't had a selection this high since Nolan Patrick,
Hmm.
right? And even Nolan Patrick didn't even play that first year,
Yeah. Did
right?
Provorov play that
I
first year?
think Provorov did too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think Provorov.
That's a little different. That's defense. which is even harder to do in my mind. But the whole thing with that, I think this offensive pick is needed. Yes, the team needs to correct the defense. We all know that. But I think that's going to come free agency. They need a right hand shot defenseman. That will come. We're talking about the draft here, guys, which these players could potentially still take a year or two. Now, if this guy comes in and plays well, then Mason, all hope to put him in the lineup, but I don't know. I think he's still maybe a year away at least, and you don't want to rush him. Um, as our first round pick last year, he had success in the AHL, and I would love, as we talked before, love for the AHL to be able to allow teams to make their own decisions,
Hmm.
and with the CHL, not have to send them right back.
Yeah.
If they're ready, let them play in the AHL against professionals.
Yeah.
But that was what we talked about previously. So I think we do have a lot of defense. Getting back to that, with Cameron York and Zumala coming up to help next season as well on the bottom pairings, possibly to fill in some holes. I don't think we're going to get a defenseman at 14 that is going to be a game changer. We need a right hand shot.
Mm.
There's some names out there that are good. Right hand shot defenseman like Brent Clark, but I think he's going to go much higher
Yeah.
in the draft.
Yeah.
So that's why I said select a position of need as well in center. Again, with Nolan Patrick's uh, year that he had this year, and Morgan Frost, his size limiting his durability. It's a position of need. I think that third center with Scott Lawton is there, but I think the team likes him more at wing. So in the future, I think like
Yeah.
a center could be needed, and I
Especially
like
one that
Mason.
shoots first.
Right, as a shooter first, and could potentially add some offense to that third line, and I think Mason could do that for sure if he comes in, and maybe not next season, but maybe the season or two after that. This is a position of need. Jay O'Brien is there, but we don't really know where he is. And with Mason, he can play wing as well. So um, much like Tyson Forrester, is the same kind of shoot first guy that we need. We need to fill out the roster to find some shooters, to some goal scorers in my mind.
I really love. I have to admit, I really love this draft pick, dude. I really do. I think this is one that would be one that the Flyers should seriously consider. His size, his 200-foot game, the fact that he knows how to freaking find the back of the twine on a regular, consistent basis.
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah, I think he's got a pro shot right now.
that's what I mean. And okay, he's kind of a man child right now. At 6'2", 220 pounds, he's only 18 or 17, 18 years old. So I mean, okay, yeah, I get it. But that's the thing that I think is going to potentially give him the tools that all he needs to do now is just mature his game. He has the tools to play the game, but now you just have to get that maturity. You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah, I think that's why I said I picked him over Sillinger even
Yeah.
because Sillinger went back to play in the USHL because his league was shut down. So but he played against kids his own age, in juniors still,
Right. Mm-hmm.
and in a lesser league. He did very well this season, but it's in the UHSL, where Mason decided to go play in a professional league, and
Yeah.
he excelled in a professional league.
Yeah.
Granted, it wasn't in North America, but it was still in a professional league with some very highly talented players. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he showed what he can do against 25, 30-year-old men, and
He
and
didn't look out of
excelled.
place.
He
He did
didn't look
not.
out of
He
place
did
at
not
all.
look
He
out of
was
place.
he was he was a star on that team. So kudos to him, and you know, great.
I have to agree with you, my man. I have to agree. Um, I I really like the rethink here on this draft selection, and I think that's also going to affect all the other rounds now for the Flyers, where they're going to be able to select players especially in the later rounds, because of exactly what we've talked about in the past, where there hasn't been a lot of eyes on these players because they haven't been able to play
Hmm.
in their junior leagues or whatever league they're in. They've had to find alternate ways to play and to get, ice time.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And so it's going to be interesting to see how this goes. I really, really feel that this draft and this offseason is going to affect the Flyers for the next 5 years. The reason why I say that is this draft coming up here is going to be Chuck Fletcher's third draft,
Hmm.
right? So now, at this point now, almost all the players that have been either Ron Hextall's are either getting phased out
Hmm.
or being traded away, and Fletcher's players are starting to permeate more so into the team. Okay, and his coach is now entrenched and everything like that. He's going to be able to pick his own guy for the Phantoms. Okay, which might be somebody already that he's got in the fold, might be somebody else, who knows. If it is somebody in the fold, who? And then now you have to replace that coach with somebody else too. You know what I mean? So a lot of things are going to happen, I think, here, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Like I alluded to, I hope to see a good influx of Fletcher coming in and putting his stamp on things. That already looks like it. He signed some prospects that have excelled from his drafts already, and he's showing that he's not mincing his words. He's sticking true to his guys
Yeah,
and infiltrating, them into the lineup. And it's impressive. I like the guys that he's signed.
I agree.
Um,
I like his draft picks too. I mean, there's
yeah,
some that I've had some questions with. You
sure,
know
for
what I
sure.
mean?
But there was
Not.
some with Hextall that I had some
Oh
questions with
yeah,
as
of
well.
course,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
We're
Not all of them are going to progress to the
exactly.
NHL, and that's okay. But as long as you hit more than you miss, that's a plus. That's a bonus.
Exactly.
So
That's what we're hoping for. As long as you hit more than you miss, that's all we can hope for. You know what I mean?
yeah, and as far as the Phantoms go, I hate to see the coach leave, but I don't know. I'm hearing Ian LaPerriere's name a lot, and he's been before he was an assistant with the Flyers. He was a development coach and is supposedly pretty good at that.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that'll be the heir to the throne there in Lehigh, but I don't know how I feel about that just yet. I'll if that is in case his pick. So we have some time in the off season to see, but who just might it be? But we'll go with that for now, and we shall see. I don't
Yeah.
know. I'm excited to see what happens, and as far as in the future, some shows. I know I have got a pretty good name and a person I respect a lot. Coming on a future show when we do sit down and talk about the draft. And I'm excited for that show coming up. So,
Yeah, man. I'm looking forward to that as well, because I'm very excited about this draft this year, because now with the Flyers being able to pick at a much higher draft selection, I'm a lot more excited about the potential selection that the Flyers could pick. And look, even the past articles that you've written with some of the other names that you've put out there of some of the other players that could be selected. I still like all of those as well to be coming onto the Flyers. But now that the Flyers are going to be picking higher, all of their other selections are going to be affected by that as well too. So I'm looking forward to that as well. Anytime, my brother, you want to bring somebody onto this show, bring them, because let's see. The last person that you wanted to bring on was, oh, wait, Tommy Soderstrom. Yeah. And
ah,
that
yeah.
worked out real nice. So, but Lance, I'll tell you what. I can't wait to see the next articles. I can't wait to see how we're burning up the pages once again. And thank you for another great episode of the Hockey Writers Inc. And I'm your co-host, Steel Flyers, and Lance is our.
I'm your host, Lance Green, and we can follow me, guys, with all my articles on flyersnittygritty.com, Bleacher Report, this great site as well, steelflyers.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at LNGBASSIST. The number's 39.
Yeah, man. Thank you all very much for checking us out. Thank you all for liking, subscribing, for following us. Thank you for that. Thank you for all the comments. Thank you for all the sites, all the website hits. Thank you to our great sponsors, www.cccresorts.com. Thank you to them, and thank you to you, Lance. Just remember, folks, have a great time. We'll catch you all later on the flip side. See you later.